Welcome everyone to part 5 of our Chamber of Secrets audio plays. Can you believe this is the final part of Chamber of Secrets? I seriously cannot. We are going to have an awesome time. We have quite a few new people joining us today. We have some awesome voice actors as well as amazing new audio editor in Crazy Cat Lady. And some awesome artists and other editors working behind the scenes to make this as amazing and as wonderfully done as we can. And so we hope you enjoy this. And let's see what happened last time. And let's see what we've got coming up. So after Hermione had an incident where she almost turned into a cat last time, she slowly recovers from that disastrous event. And the boys inform her about what happened when they went into the Slytherin dungeons, where they found out absolutely nothing. As a result, everyone still believed that Harry might be the heir. Later that day, the boys found Moaning Myrtle's bathroom flooded due to someone throwing a book at her, being dramatic. The boys recovered the book, a diary that at one point belonged to Tom Riddle, which was completely empty. A few evenings later, when Harry tried to use the diary as his own, he found that it somehow spoke to him, claiming to be the preserved spirit of Tom himself. He showed Harry a memory where he appeared to capture Hagrid with a dangerous beast, the events that led to his expulsion, and Harry had no choice but to consider whether Hagrid was involved now. A few days later, they also found that the Gryffindor boys' dormitory had been raided, and someone had stolen the diary. As they left, Harry heard the mysterious voice again, and that prompted Hermione to have an epiphany and head to the library. The boys headed for the Quidditch match that day, where McGonagall informed them that the game was cancelled, and led them to the hospital wing, where Hermione lied, petrified. This made things a little better for Harry, as everyone knew he would never harm one of his best friends, but they're both still completely worried about their best friend. Ron and Harry decided that they had to confront Hagrid and go down to his hunt that night. They got to Hagrid's, but were interrupted by the arrival of the Minister of Magic, Cornelius Fudge, and Dumbledore. Fudge came to arrest Hagrid due to suspicion because of his past record. Lucius Malfoy also arrived with a letter of suspension for Dumbledore. With both Hagrid and Dumbledore gone, Harry and Ron now worried that the attacks would start up again. A few days later, they visited Hermione in the hospital wing, where they found a sheet of paper with information on basilisks. Reading it, they realized that this was what the monster is, and the traits of it matched everything that was happening, and explained why everyone has been petrified. With this information, they also found a handwritten note by Hermione. Pipes. With this, they also realized that Moaning Myrtle was the spirit of the girl that the basilisk killed 50 years ago, and has remained in this bathroom ever since. As they had to tell the teachers, what would they be able to do about it? Well, let's see what Part 5 has in store.
McGonagall's clear, stern voice echoes throughout the castle, magically magnified, though slightly filled with concern.
All students are to return to their house dormitories at once. All teachers to the second-floor corridor immediately.
McGonagall stands before the desecrated wall, surrounded by the rest of the staff. Harry and Ron creep up the stairwell.
As you can see, the heir of Slytherin has left another message. Our worst fear has been realized. A student has been taken by the monster into the chamber itself. I'm afraid we shall have to send the students home. I'm afraid this is the end of Hogwarts.
So sorry I dozed off. What have I missed?
Just the man. A girl has been snatched out of the monster lockhart. Your moment has come at last.
My moment?
Weren't you saying just last night that you've known all along where the entrance to the Chamber of Secrets is?
Did I? I don't recall.
That settles it. We'll leave it to you to deal with the monster, Gilderoy. Your skills, after all, are legend.
Very well. I I'll be in my office getting ready.
The rest of us should go and inform the students what has happened.
Who is it this monster's taken, Minerva?
Ginny Weasley.
Ron's knees give way. As Harry catches him, the staff scatter, revealing what is written on that wall. Her skeleton will lie in the chamber forever. Harry and a very upset Ron walk with desperate purpose.
She knew something, Harry. She's found out something about the Chamber of Secrets. That's why she was taken. I mean, she is a pupil. There can't be any other reason.
Come on, let's see Lockhart. He may be a brainless kid, but he's going to try and get into the chamber. We can tell him what we know.
Harry, do you think there's any chance that ours is not,
Harry glances over and studies Ron's tortured eyes.
We'll find her, Ron. Ginny's going to be fine.
Ron nods and smiles shakily before looking away. When he does, Harry's whole demeanor changes, feeling troubled. Even he doesn't believe what he's just said. They approach Gilderoy Lockhart's office and dash inside.
Professor, we've got some information for you.
Harry and Ron stop dead. Lockhart's office is stripped to the shelves, with 2 large trunks standing open, half packed.
Are you going somewhere?
Well, yes. Urgent call. Unavoidable. Got to go.
What about my sister?
Well, as to that, most unfortunate. No one regrets more than I, of course.
But you're the Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher. You can't go now.
I must say, when I took the job, nothing in the job description...
You're running away? After all the stuff you did in your books?
But books can be misleading.
You wrote them!
My dear boy, do use your common sense. My books would not have sold half as well if people didn't think I'd done all those things. No one once reads about some ugly old Armenian warlock, even if he did save a village from werewolves. He'd look dreadful on the front covers. No dress sense at all.
You're a fraud! You've just been taking credit for what a load of other wizards have done.
Harry. There was work involved. I had to track these people down and ask them exactly how they managed to do whatever it is they did. No, it's not all book signings and publicity photos. If you want fame, you have to be prepared for a long, hard slog.
Is there anything you can't do?
Ah, yes. Now that you mention it, I am rather gifted with memory charms. Otherwise, you see, all those wizards would have gone blabbing, and I would never have sold another book. I'm afraid I'll have to do the same to you both, lest you do the same.
Lockhart lifts his wand, but Harry is quicker.
Expelliarmus!
Lockhart blasts backwards, toppling into one of the open trunks, his wand flying across the floor.
Looks like those dueling lessons came in handy after all, Professor.
Harry and Ron march Lockhart straight to Moaning Myrtle's bathroom, their wands pointed right at him, while Moaning Myrtle floats above the cistern.
Who's there? Oh. Hello, Harry. What do you want?
To ask you how you died.
Oh, it was dreadful. It happened right here, in this very cubicle. I'd hidden because Olive Hornby was teasing me about my glasses. I was crying, and then I heard somebody come in.
Who was it, Myrtle?
I don't know. I was distraught, but they said something funny, a kind of made-up language. And then I realized it was a boy speaking, so I unlocked the door to tell him to go away. And I died.
Just like that? How?
No idea. I just remember seeing a pair of great big yellow eyes over there.
Myrtle points to the bank of sinks nearby. Harry and Ron rush over to it and start examining the pipes below, the bowl, the tiles above. Then Harry sees it. Etched on one of the copper taps is a tiny snake.
This is it, Ron. This is the entrance to the Chamber of Secrets.
Say something, Harry. Say something in parcel tongue.
Harry stares at the tiny snake, feeling a bit self-conscious.
Open up.
No, Ron shakes his head. Harry spoken in his regular voice, not Parseltongue.
English.
Harry concentrates harder this time, staring so intensely that the snake almost looks alive. When finally he speaks, it is more of a hiss. The circular group of sinks opens, and a large open pipe is exposed.
Excellent, Harry. Good work. Well then, I'll just be going since there's no need for me.
Oh, yes, there is. You first.
Harry points his wand at Lockhart, then to the opening.
Now, boys, what good will it do?
A bloody lot of good if it's a 200-foot drop onto jagged rocks.
Lockhart steps grimly to the dark, gaping hole. Ron gives him a shove, and he topples headfirst and out of sight. They wait, and finally...
It really is quite lovely down here.
Alright, let's go.
Oh, Harry, if you die down there, you're welcome to show me to feel it.
Thanks, Muzzle.
Harry and Ron slide wicked fast in a hair-raising vertical plummet, catching glimpses of other, smaller pipes branching off in all directions, twisting and turning until the pipe levels off, dumping them onto the damp floor of a stone tunnel. Lockhart stares miserably at the muck dripping from his robes. Harry takes a torch from the wall and poises his wand.
Lumos.
The torch blooms with a bright orange flame.
Remember, any sign of movement, close your eyes straight away.
Harry leads the way down the tunnel. Crunch! They look down. A rat's skull. All around them, the ground is littered with tiny skeletons. Ron squints and sees something huge and curved lying ahead. When he speaks, his voice is hollow with dread.
What's that? Up ahead.
It looks like a snake.
Terrified, Lockhart quickly hides his eyes.
Maybe it's asleep.
Ron draws his wand as they approach, squinting through the darkness. Harry shines his light, revealing a gigantic coil of empty skin.
Bloody hell. Whatever shit, this must be 20 feet long. Or more.
Hearing a thud, they turn and see Lockhart has passed out cold.
Heart of a lion, this one.
Ron kneels beside him. When Lockhart's eyes suddenly open, and quick as a fox, he snatches Ron's wand and scrambles to his feet, pointing it at him.
Aha! The adventure ends here, boys. But don't fret, the world will know our story. How I was too late to save the girl, how you two tragically lost your minds at the sight of her mangled body. I'll even find a limited edition in this snakeskin. Say goodbye to your memories. Oblivion!
Ron's wand explodes like a small bomb, blasting Lockhart off his feet and spitting great jets of fire into the rock above them. As rubble rains down against them, Ron leaps one way and Harry the opposite. Harry sits up amid all the rubble, squinting through the settling dust. A solid wall of broken rock seals the tunnel, separating him from Ron and Lockhart.
Ron, are you okay?
I'm okay. The skid's not there. He got blasted by my wand.
Lockhart sits up, dazed and woozy. Ron quickly picks up a rock and conks him over the head, knocking him out again. Ron calls to Harry.
What now?
Wait here. I'll go on and find Ginny. If I'm not back in an hour...
Harry takes a small, shaky breath. He doesn't know how to finish that thought.
I'll try and shift some of this rock, so we can get back through. And, Harry...
See you in a bit.
Harry glances at the snakeskin at his feet, shuddering. He steps carefully through the shadows until he reaches a towering stone wall, carved with twin serpents. The serpents part, and the giant wall slides slowly open. Harry takes out his wand and enters a vast chamber stretching ahead. Along the path are rows of stone serpents resting in pools of black water. Ahead is an enormous statue of Salazar Slytherin. Several feet in front of the statue, Ginny Weasley lies motionless, her head lolling to one side. cheeks white as marble, a pale hand clutching Tom Riddle's diary to her chest. Harry drops his torch and races to her side, placing his hands on the floor and kneeling beside her.
Ginny! Please don't be dead. Ginny! Wake up! Wake up!
She won't wake.
Harry spins, and Tom Riddle is standing nearby, though he's strangely blurred around the edges, as though Harry were looking at him through a misted window.
Tom Riddle! What do you mean she won't wake? She's not.
She's still alive, but only just.
Are you a ghost?
A memory, preserved in a diary for 50 years.
Harry looks to the diary in Ginny's clutched hand, then places his own hand on her arm.
She's cold as ice. You've got to help me, Tom. There's a basilisk.
It won't come until it's cold.
Harry looks up questioningly at Tom Riddle and sees him twirling a wand in his fingers, when he realizes that's his own wand.
Give me my wand, Tom.
You won't be needing it.
Listen, we've got to go. We've got to save her.
I'm afraid I can't do that, Harry. You see, as poor Ginny grows weaker, I grow stronger.
But she's dying.
Yes, I'm afraid so. But then, she's been in so much pain. Poor Ginny. She's been writing to me for months, telling me all her pitiful worries and woes. Ginny poured her soul out to me. I grew stronger and I died of her deepest fears, her darkest secrets. I grew powerful enough to start feeding Ginny a few secrets, to start pouring a bit of my soul back into her.
Tom Riddle is growing less and less vaporous by the second, and grins cruelly.
Yes, Harry. It was Ginny Weasley who opened the Chamber of Secrets.
No. She couldn't. She wouldn't.
It was Ginny who set the basilisk on the Mudbloods and the Squibs cat. Ginny who wrote threatening messages on the walls.
But why?
Because I told her to. You'll find that I can be very persuasive. Not that she knew what she was doing. She was, shall we say, in a kind of trance. Still, the power of the diary began to scare her and she tried to dispose of it in the girls' bathroom. But then, who should find it? But you, the very person I was most anxious to meet.
Why do you want to meet me?
Ginny told me all about you. I knew I had to talk to you, meet you if I could. So I decided to show you my capture of that brainless oaf, Hagrid, to gain your trust.
Hagrid is my friend! But you framed him, didn't you?
It was my word against Hagrid's. Only Dumbledore seemed to think Hagrid was innocent.
I'll bet Dumbledore saw right through you.
I knew it wouldn't be safe to open the chamber again while I was still at school, so I decided to leave behind the diary, preserving my 16-year-old self in its pages, so that one day I would be able to lead another to finish Salazar Slytherin's noble work.
Well, you haven't finished it this time. In a few hours, Mandrake Jewel will be ready, and everyone who's petrified will be alright again.
Haven't I told you that killing Mudbloods doesn't matter to me anymore? For many months now, my new target has been you. Imagine my disappointment when I learned Ginny had stolen the diary back from you.
Ginny stole the diary from my room? But why?
She was afraid you'd learn how to work the diary, afraid I'd tell you just who it was that had been strangling all those roosters.
Horrified, Harry glances at Ginny, growing more and more pale, then back to Tom Riddle, who is growing only more solid.
Come now, Harry. Don't look so disappointed. Had Ginny succeeded in destroying the diary, she would have destroyed me, and we couldn't be having this little talk, and I have so many questions for you.
Like what?
Well, how is it that a baby with no extraordinary magical talent managed to defeat the greatest wizard of all time? How did you escape with nothing but a scar, while Lord Voldemort's powers were destroyed?
Why do you care how I escaped? Voldemort was after your time.
Voldemort is my past, present, and future.
Riddle pulls Harry's wand from his pocket and begins to trace it through the air, writing 3 words: Tom Marvolo Riddle. Then with a wave, he rearranges them. I am Lord Voldemort.
You're the heir of Slytherin. You're Voldemort.
Surely you didn't think I would keep my filthy Muggle father's name? No, I fashioned myself a new name. A name I knew wizards everywhere would one day fear to speak when I became the greatest sorcerer in the world.
Albus Dumbledore's the greatest sorcerer in the world.
Dumbledore's been driven out of this castle by the mere memory of me.
He'll never be gone. Not as long as those who remain are loyal to him.
Suddenly, flying above them is Fawkes, Professor Dumbledore's phoenix. The bird swoops into the chamber, clutching a ragged bundle in its golden talons.
Fawkes.
Fawkes flies toward Harry, dropping the ragged bundle between him and Tom Riddle. The Sorting Hat. Riddle picks it up, mockingly.
This is what Dumbledore sends his defender. A songbird and an old hat.
Riddle tosses aside the hat, and he turns to the statue of Salazar Slytherin, speaking in Parseltongue. The statue of Salazar Slytherin's mouth opens wide, and there's a deep rumbling sound coming from within, followed by the sound of slithering. Harry turns away, terrified. The basilisk, a giant serpent, spilling forth, uncoiling heavily onto the floor. Harry turns to face the wall and sees the shadow of the serpent there. Tom Riddle watches Harry with amusement.
Let's match the powers of Lord Voldemort, heir of Salazar Slytherin, against the famous Harry Potter, shall we?
Riddle turns to the basilisk, urging it on in Parseltongue. The hissing serpent lunges forward. Harry quickly turns and sprints away.
Parseltongue won't save you now, Potter. The basilisk only obeys me.
Don't look. Don't look into its eyes.
Harry races desperately along the stone path, but the giant serpent is much faster. He trips and falls, sprawling all over the ground. He looks up and sees the shadow of the basilisk on the wall, rising, about to strike. But suddenly Harry hears Fawkes the Phoenix screeching loudly in that chamber, soaring toward the basilisk and circling around its blunt head, confusing it. The snake snaps furiously at Fawkes when he suddenly dives down towards his face, driving his golden talons deep into the serpent's glittering eyes. As Harry watches the angry play of shadows on the wall, the basilisk roars, hissing in pain. Fawkes wings away quickly, its talons dripping with blood. When Harry looks, the basilisk's eyes are a blind, bloody mess.
Fool, think you're safe? It can still hear you.
As Harry flees, the serpent thunders after him, striking blindly with its vicious tail, shattering a nearby statue. Harry dodges and ducks this tail, then seeing the snake about to strike again, he leaps clear, stumbling toward a side tunnel. He races headlong into the shadows. When looking back, he sees the snake eclipse the light at the far end of it, slithering quickly inside.
You cannot hide, false heir. I will find you.
Thinking, Harry ducks into an alcove and puts his hand over his mouth to quiet his breaths, desperate to remain still and silent. The snake slides heavily by, then slows, turning back. The snake's head weaves inside, only inches from Harry's face. He trembles as the snake's head cocks to the side, then finally withdraws. He waits. Then Harry dashes back into the main chamber, Ginny looking frighteningly pale, while Riddle grins cruelly, almost solid now.
Yes, Potter. The process is nearly complete. In a few minutes, Ginny Weasley will be dead, and I will cease to be a memory. Lord Voldemort will return. Very much alive.
Harry moves quickly to Ginny's side, when suddenly the basilisk shoots out of the tunnel, hissing directly in front of Harry. Trapped, Harry glances around and impulsively leaps forward to begin climbing the statue of Salazar Slytherin. The serpent strikes madly, but Harry continues on, climbing boldly until he reaches the top. He turns and sees the sorting hat and something glittering within, the ruby handle of a sword. Harry wheels around, sword in hand, and fends off the slashing serpent like St. George and the dragon. In a mad rush of courage, he pitches himself onto the serpent, sliding down and rolls up, sword raised. Too tired to flee, Harry simply waits. The serpent rises, fangs bared, and strikes. Marshalling every ounce of strength left to him, Harry drives the sword upward, deep into the roof of the serpent's mouth. It hisses in pain, thrashing madly as it drives a fang deep into Harry's arm. Harry clutches his arm in agony, blinding pain. Stumbling back and falling to the floor, he watches as the serpent thrashes briefly before going still. Harry peers down at his ravaged arm and sees a fang piercing through, blood slowly dripping through his robe. He yanks the fang free, and Riddle steps forward, almost fully whole now. His eyes shine at the sight of Harry's wound.
Remarkable, isn't it? How quickly the venom of the basilisk penetrates the body. If you have any final words, Potter, you'd best speak them now. I guess you have little more than a minute to live.
Harry blinks heavily, watching as the skin of his forearm turns to a troubling gray.
So ends the famous Harry Potter, on his knees in the Chamber of Secrets, defeated at last by the Dark Lord he so unwisely challenged. You'll be back with your dear mudblood mother soon, Harry.
As Riddle talks, Harry glances at Ginny, nearly white now, a small ghost. The only evidence of life is the trembling of a single finger. Harry studies the finger and what lies beneath it. Tom Riddle's diary. Harry begins to crawl toward her.
Funny, isn't it? The damage a silly little book can do, especially in the hands of a silly little girl.
As Harry reaches Ginny, he places his hand on hers, then slips the diary free.
What are you doing?
Stop! No!
Riddle's face creases in fear. He lunges forward, but Harry is too quick. Raising his hand high, he plunges the fang deep into the book. Instantly, black ink spurts from its pages.
No!
Riddle shrieks, writhing in pain, his body beginning to wither instantly, growing blurry once more. As the ink runs off Harry's fingers to the floor, Riddle vanishes altogether. Harry sinks back then and hears a faint murmur. Ginny stirs, color blooming in her cheeks as she sits up and sees Harry, wounded, and she sobs.
Harry, it was me, but I swear I didn't mean to. Riddle made me. He walked to me, took me over. I didn't even know how scary it was. I fell into my cauldron the day we all went to Dying Alley and... Harry, you're hurt.
Ginny, you need to get yourself out. Follow the chamber. You'll find Ron.
There's a rush of wings, and Fox circles down, laying his head onto Harry's arm.
You were brilliant, Fox. I just wasn't quick enough.
Looking down at Fox, Harry suddenly sees thick, pearly tears are trickling down his little face and onto his arm. Almost instantly, his wound begins to heal itself.
Of course. Dumbledore told me. Phoenix tears have healing powers. It's alright, Ginny. It's over. It's just a memory.
Fox graciously allows Harry and Ginny to hold him tight as he glides gracefully out of the dark tunnels. As they make their way back, a light glimmers through some shifted rocks, and Ron's face appears.
Ginny!
Ron wriggles through the rocks and rushes forward to hug his little sister.
You're alive. I can't believe it. Remind you of anyone?
Where's Lockhart?
Harry eyes Lockhart, sitting by himself, humming placidly.
His memory charm backfired. Hasn't got a clue who he is. I keep having to stop him wandering off. He's a danger to himself.
Hello? Odd sort of place this, isn't it? Do you live here?
No.
Ron turns and raises his eyebrows at Harry. Harry just looks up. There's an opening, hundreds of feet up. Just then, Fox circles back, fluttering in front of Harry.
What's with the bird?
I think he's telling me he can take us out of here.
Harry, Ron, Ginny, and Lockhart link hands, and Fox carries them all up and out of the dark tunnels and flies them home.
Amazing! This is just like magic!
Harry, Ginny, and Ron, covered in muck and slime, enter Dumbledore's office. As they enter, they see that Dumbledore is not alone. Beside him stands Professor McGonagall. At the seats in front of the desk sit Molly and Arthur Weasley. As Ginny notices them, she races toward them and they embrace her. All three are sobbing.
Oh, sweetheart, you're safe.
Harry notices Fox perching on a pedestal behind Dumbledore, who sits at his desk. Wordlessly, Harry places the blackened diary on his desk. Dumbledore carefully examines the artifact. He looks up, regarding Harry and Ron gravely.
It was a long story, sir. Tom Riddle preserved his teenage self somehow in his diary. He was trying to suck Ginny's life.
Igneous. Simply igneous. Of course, Tom Riddle is probably the most brilliant student Hogwarts has ever seen. I taught him myself 50 years ago. After he left, I would occasionally hear stories of his activities. Dark rumors. But after a while, even the rumors stopped. When he finally resurfaced as Lord Voldemort, most people had completely forgotten the clever head boy he'd once been.
Ginny looks anxiously from her parents to Dumbledore, still worrying that she will face punishment.
I didn't know whose diary it was, sir. I swear I found it inside my cauldron. The day we all went to Diagon Alley.
Hearing this, Harry frowns in thought, recollecting.
But I understand, if, given what a trouble I've caused, if you...
Wiser wizards than you have been hoodwinked by Lord Voldemort, Miss Weasley. No, I think you've endured enough. I would suggest a bit of bed rest, however, and perhaps a large mug of hot chocolate. I always find that cheers me up. Minerva, will you show Arthur and Molly up to the hospital wing along with Miss Weasley?
Certainly, Albus.
As they leave Dumbledore's office, Harry and Ron watch them go. Mr. Weasley's voice can be heard saying,
A diary that writes back to you? Honestly, Ginny, what were you thinking? Haven't I always told you? Never trust anything that can think for itself if you can't see where it keeps its brain?
Harry and Ron turn back and see Dumbledore regarding them gravely.
You do realize, of course, that in the last few hours you have broken perhaps a dozen school rules.
Yes, sir.
And that there is sufficient evidence to expel you both.
Yes, sir.
Therefore, it seems only fitting that you both receive special awards for services to the school. And, let me see. Yes, I think 200 points apiece, which I believe should be more than enough to secure Gryffindor the House Cup.
Thank you,
sir.
Now, Mr. Weasley, if you would have an owl deliver these release papers to Azkaban. We need our gatekeeper back.
Ron nods, taking the envelope, and leaves Dumbledore's office.
First, Harry, I want to thank you. You must have shown me real loyalty down there in the chamber. Nothing but that could have called Fox to you. Secondly, I sense you're troubled by something. Am I right?
It's just... You see, sir, I couldn't help noticing certain things, certain similarities between Tom Riddle and me.
You can speak Parseltongue, Harry, because Lord Voldemort can speak Parseltongue. Unless I am not mistaken, he transformed some of his own powers to you the night he gave you that scar.
So the Sorting Hat was right. I should be a Slytherin.
It's true, Harry. You do possess many of the qualities Voldemort himself prizes. Resourcefulness, determination, a certain disregard for the rules. Yet the Sorting Hat placed you in Gryffindor.
Only because I asked it to.
Exactly, which makes you very different from Voldemort. It's not our abilities that show who we truly are, Harry. It's our choices. If you want proof that you belong to Gryffindor, Harry, I suggest you look more closely at this.
Dumbledore hands the bloodstained sword to Harry. An engraved name glimmers above the ruby-encrusted hilt.
Godric Gryffindor.
Only a true Gryffindor could have pulled that out of the hat.
Suddenly, Lucius Malfoy bursts into the office, dragging Dobby by the ear.
Dobby, this is your master? The family who serves the Malfoys?
Dobby nods, chagrined. Lucius Malfoy brushes past Harry.
Out of my way, Potter. So, you've returned?
Yes, when the governors heard that Arthur Weasley's daughter had been taken into the chamber, they saw fit to summon me back. Curiously, several of them seemed under the impression that you would curse their families if you didn't agree to suspend me in the first place, Lucius.
From the beginning, my only concern has been this school and its students. I assume the culprit has been identified?
Oh yes, it was Voldemort, only this time he chose to act through someone else, by means of this.
As Dumbledore nudges the diary toward Lucius Malfoy, Harry sees Dobby nod meaningfully from the diary to Lucius.
Fortunately, our young Mr. Potter discovered it. One only hopes that no more of Lord Voldemort's old school things find their way into innocent hands. The consequences for the one responsible could be severe.
Lucius Malfoy stares icily at Dumbledore, then turns away.
Come, Dobby. We're leaving.
As Dobby scuttles toward the door, Lucius Malfoy kicks him through it, then exits himself. Harry stares at the empty doorway as Dobby's painful squeals echo from the corridor.
Sir, I wonder if I could have that.
Dumbledore looks up curiously and follows Harry's eyes to the diary. He hands it to him, and Harry dashes out of his office, running to the elevator.
Mr. Malfoy, I have something of yours.
Harry comes up running and thrusts the diary into Malfoy's hand.
Mine? I don't know what you're talking about.
I think you do, sir. I think you slipped it into Ginny Weasley's cauldron that day in Diagon Alley.
Malfoy shoves the diary into Dobby's face, then leans close to Harry with a nasty grin and whispers,
Prove it.
He turns away. As Dobby looks sadly back, clutching the diary in his hand, Harry mouths the words, Open it. Dobby looks down curiously. Inside is a sock. He gasps.
Dobby, come, Dobby.
Master has given Dobby a sock. Master has presented Dobby with clothes. Dobby is free.
What? I didn't.
He wheels and sees Harry standing with one leg crossed. His right ankle is bare. Instantly, Malfoy charges forth.
You lost me, my servant.
You shall not harm Harry Potter.
Dobby steps between them and bang! Malfoy flies backwards, landing in a crumpled heap. Rising, he stares murderously at Harry.
Mark my words, Harry Potter. You'll meet the same sticky end as your parents one of these days. They were meddlesome fools, too.
With that, he turns and storms off.
Harry Potter freed Dobby. How can Dobby ever repay him?
Just promise me something.
Anything, sir.
Never try to save my life again.
Dobby grins, and then, crack, he's gone. Later that night, all fear and suspicion are banished. The house tables in the Great Hall are abuzz with excitement and anticipation. All except the Slytherins, who do not share this general feeling. Seated at the tables are the formerly petrified, revived students. Justin Finch Fletchley joins his fellow Hufflepuffs. Colin Creevey snaps photos of the proceedings. And at the rear of the hall, standing near the entrance, Filch is reunited with Mrs. Norris. Then Hermione enters, searching the room for Harry and Ron. Finally, she sees them, smiling, and runs forward to embrace Harry.
You solved it! You solved it!
With loads of help from you.
She turns to embrace Ron, but they pause, an awkward moment between them, and decide to shake hands instead.
Welcome back, Hermione.
McGonagall taps her goblet, and Dumbledore stands.
Before we begin our feast, let's give a round of applause to Professor Sprout and Madame Pomfrey, whose mandate juice has been successfully administered to all those who have been petrified.
Everyone applauds.
Also, in the wake of recent events, as the school treats, all exams have been cancelled.
Everyone cheers. except for Hermione.
Oh no!
At the rear of the hall, the great doors open and Hagrid strides through. He stops and looks around. The room has fallen silent, all eyes upon him. He glances around, a bit nervous and embarrassed.
Sorry I'm late. The hour delivering my newspapers got all lost and confused. Some ratty bird named Errol was delivering them.
Ron exchanges a nervous glance with Dumbledore. Hagrid looks at all of the faces staring at him, and he turns to Harry.
I just wanted to say that if it wasn't for you, Harry, you and Ron, and Hermione, well, I just want to say thanks.
There's no Hogwarts without you, Hagrid.
Dumbledore rises to his feet and slowly brings his hands together, applauding Hagrid's return. The others join in, and soon everyone is on their feet, the hall roaring with a cacophony of applause and cheers. As the students surround Hagrid, he blinks, wiping at his eyes. Hogwarts is my home.
But I swear I didn't mean to. Whoever made me, he wrote to me, took me over. I didn't even know whose story it was. I found it inside my costume the day we all went to Hogsmeade. Oh, fuck.
Dobby, come Dobby.
So sorry. I dozed off. What have I missed?
And that's a wrap! That completes our audio plays for Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Thank you so much to everyone who took the time to not only participate in, but to enjoy our performances, not only the live performance, but here in this video performance as well, coupled with our incredible artwork from our artists. Thank you very much to everyone who has participated in these plays. I am truly blessed to have had this opportunity. I could not have brought this to life without you. Sadly, this is my very last project with Pottercord, but I am so blessed to have worked with some amazing people. That's why I always say, #TalentCord. I am so thankful to everyone who has been a part of these plays. Finn has been an incredible voice actor who has been with us from the very beginning. He has never missed a single audio play. Thank you, Finn, for all of the time and effort you have consistently put in. A huge thank you to Yazzie, who's also been a huge part of every single play, not only as an actor and an artist, but for the most part, our audio editor. Thank you so much for helping bring these plays into an even higher level of sophistication that we didn't even know was possible when we started. Thank you for all the time and effort that you've put in. I really want to thank Haya. She was our very first video editor, and we were truly able to bring things up a notch when she came along and joined the team. She was not only a video editor, but she was also one of our voice actors as well. So many talented people, you guys. I'm so thrilled with our new editors who have joined our team, video and audio, and I wish Hope and Leaf, the new directors, all the luck in the world as they continue on their own, and they will continue to direct Prisoner of Azkaban. And lastly, I cannot thank Nish and Squee enough for the amazing opportunity that they have given me here on the server. Not only have they entrusted me with so much, not only helping run the server, but going through plans and decisions with them, allowing me to have the creative freedom to help create some of these projects. I cannot believe that I was lucky enough to join the server and meet some incredible friends through them, learn so much from them and their big brains, but to have been granted the trust that they have put in me to do these things. So thank you, Nish and Squee, from the bottom of my heart. You two are absolutely amazing, and I can't imagine any future endeavors without you two. And lastly, thank you to Pottercord. Thank you for being a part of this group, this community. Thank you for engaging in events. Thank you for being excited for each other when things are going well. And thank you for being there for each other when sometimes things just aren't. Thank you for letting me be a small part in your lives. And thank you for being a part of mine. So please always remember that Hogwarts is my home and that you are enough.